I'll be honest, I haven't been playing a whole lot of multiplayer FPS games over the last 3 or 4 months. Been taking a break and leaning more into single player games, and it's been really nice. But that doesn't mean the itch for that multiplayer FPS is gone. In fact, I've still been playing here and there a few of my favorite chill FPS games that I want to talk about in the video today. If you've watched the channel for a while, none of these will be a real big surprise, but I wanted to give an update on Battlebit, Splitgate, Titanfall, and Halo MCC. So let's start with Battlebit Remastered. I played a lot of this game when it first came out. It's built by 3 developers, and it's basically Battlefield mixed with some squad elements. It is a ton of fun. There is a lot of content here, so many weapons attachments, maps, and the community is really fun. The star of the show is the voice over IP stuff. There's so much proximity chat, death chat, hearing your opponents, talking with your teammates. Every time you play this game, if you have voice chat enabled, I guarantee you will laugh. There are hilarious moments that happen so much with this game. It also helps that the gunplay is actually pretty great. For many players, the art style I know is a turnoff. For me, I don't love the blocky Minecraft voxel art style, but I kind of understand why they did it. It let them focus on gameplay, and this runs really well on a ton of different systems, and you can have up to 254 players in a server, which is pretty incredible and chaotic, and this is a perfect, like, right before bed, super chill multiplayer shooter. You can't take it seriously, you know? It's just moving around with a giant blob of people, hearing them talk in chat, shooting, reviving, all this stuff. It's a really fun experience. My understanding is the developers are working on this big kind of back-end update that brings some weapon improvements and overhauls the whole sound system. But apparently this has been on like the back burner for a long time, and I think the update keeps getting pushed a little further back. If you've been playing BattleBit and in the trenches this whole time, would love to hear a little bit more about the state of the game, but it seems like every time that I've tried to play it over the last month, it's been no issue. Easy to get into a full lobby, have a good time. Not a game that I probably see myself playing longer than an hour or two, but very fun and definitely delivers on just that pure, easy, simple, hop in, hop out experience. Next up, we have good old Titanfall 2, one of the best FPS games ever made, and Respawn fixed the matchmaking, got rid of the DDoSing, and the game has been very playable now for a while, and we've talked about that in a ton of videos. Now, on like weekends, you'll see about 2,000-ish players online on PC, and you can get into attrition matches pretty quickly. Anything outside of attrition, you're going to search a little bit longer. Pilot v Pilot's not terrible for the wait time, but be prepared to run with the same amount of people, especially if you're playing on weekdays or during like non-evening hours. It's definitely dropped off. The same thing that always happens with PC Titanfall happens. It's a really diehard crew of people who enjoy this game. There is still a variance in skill level, but most of the people here are going to be veterans. And unfortunately, I know that turns off a lot of new players to the game because it's a lot to manage. The big reason I love the game so much is the movement system. Like, the skill ceiling is almost limitless, and you really, if you play this game a lot, you will see huge gains, and you'll be able to express yourself really creatively. If you go watch somebody like Iniquity play this game, it's unbelievable how he can use the sandbox and do so many cool things. And all of that to say, it can be pretty tough if you are a new player. But my best suggestion is, hey, buy the game. It's usually like $5 or $10 on most of these sales, and the campaign alone is worth it. But just hop into some private matches, as it's called, and practice your slide hops. Literally, if you just spend 10 or 15 minutes floating around a map, having a good time, you're gonna get up to speed so much quicker. Kind of view this game like a Tony Hawk in an FPS game had a baby, because the movement system in and of itself, or maybe like Jet Set Radio, that's a good example. This game is just a beautiful player expression canvas where you really can do so many things that are just mind-blowing. It's important to note there is no crossplay, so the console populations don't touch the PC player base. I'm curious to know if you play on PlayStation or on the Xbox side, what the player numbers look like for those consoles. Next up, we have Splitgate, which actually just had their cinematic reveal for Splitgate 2, And I love this game. I've been playing it since 2019. It's gone through a lot of transformations, had a huge blow up in 2021, and it does not have a ton of people playing it on PC anymore, but thankfully this is a cross-play title. And so if you're willing to wait and to be okay with having some bots in a few of your matches, it's still a very good time. They say Halo meets Portal. It really does have a fantastic sandbox. Feels really good on both controller and mouse, and is just a great game. There were a few comments asking me about my reaction of the Splitgate 2 cinematic reveal, and I think it's a huge step forward in terms of production quality. The map that they're showing off looks really cool. It definitely seems like it's a step in a different direction. In some interviews I was reading, sounds like it's more of a class shooter than that of an arena shooter. So you've got 3 classes they showed off in the trailer: support, portals, and defense. And those like characters that fall under those roles have unique abilities. So like the defense one, Sabrask, can put up a smart wall, which kind of looks like the shield from Halo Infinite, basically. You've got the see-through walls ability, which kind of gives me the Promethean vision vibes, and the shock disc, which arrows can throw and stun enemies and close portals with. I am hopeful, but definitely apprehensive. We've gone through a lot of games before that added in abilities, and we'll just see. I'm sure they're going to create something that's super fun, and I'm looking forward to trying it and seeing it. You know, you can only glean so much from a trailer like this. I imagine the goal is to try and capture a much larger audience. Splitgate is super cool. I love it. I'm an arena shooter nerd. But I know it wasn't super sticky for a lot of players, and I know a lot of players just didn't really want to engage with the Portal side of it all that much. So I can totally understand, you know, them going after a larger audience and maybe minimizing the Portal side. Doesn't mean I'm super stoked on it, but if it's fun at the end of the day and it's successful, cool, you know, good for them. And the final game that I've been playing, and it's no surprise, it's always in the background, it is Halo, the Master Chief Collection, which basically averaging like 4,000-ish players, you know, as the concurrent daily number, which is pretty similar to what it's been for a long time now. I would say there's been a bit of a bump, a small one, over the last few months as players, I think, are hopping back into MCC over from Halo Infinite. And it's still a lot of fun. If you don't own MCC, just tons of content there. Halo 3, definitely still the most popular title there. Custom browser isn't really popping off the way that it used to. And the one thing is, you are going to run into some really hard matches. It's kind of the same thing with all of these games. At this point, it's pretty die-hard community members who are still invested and enjoying it. So you kind of have to adjust the expectations. You're not going to go in and just drop Steaktacular after Steaktacular, unless you're like a super awesome player, of course. I'm honestly so grateful and happy that the MCC team got the game in the state that they did. Obviously, would hope and wish that we'd see more support for the game, but they did a pretty solid job, in my opinion, improving quite a bit, and there's just a lot to unlock and go after. And ultimately, if you liked these games back in the day, it's a super fun way to experience it now. So as I mentioned, I'm really not playing a ton of multiplayer FPS games at the moment. I feel like the space is pretty dry. I'm looking forward to Splitgate 2, but 2025 is a long way away, so I do feel like, other than the new Black Ops, what is the big multiplayer like FPS releases? I'm always on the lookout. Thank you for suggesting some cool things to try, like I think Paladins was one, and a few others you had recommended. Definitely let me know, are there any cool, fun, relaxing like multiplayer FPS games to go try that aren't like the main giant big ones? Because the BR thing I'm totally burned out on right now. No interest. I want to thank you for watching. Hope it's a great start to your week. If you enjoyed, drop a like, and I'll see you again in the next video.